We're here for a public hearing. We have a public hearing on 4 items that will be considered on second and final reading tonight. I'll read these 4 items. The first one is to amend Part B of the Unified Development Code zoning ordinance by modifying Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 14, 10941, Public Notices by Signage, General Requirements. The second one is approve the annexation, plan of services, and rezone for Wilson County R1 to single-family RS30, a portion of 8854 Sundersville Road, map 32H, Group A, Parcel 1214, and being approximately 0.16 acres. The third item is rezone approximately 47.56 acres along Golden Bear Gateway, Athletes Way, and Rutland Drive, map 77, parcel 14.01, and map 78, parcel 4, 5.04, 6, and part of parcel 10.02 from single-family RS40 to office professional services to industrial restricted planned unit development, IR PUD, and adopt a preliminary master development plan for Project Jolene. And the fourth item is a rezone approximately 17.91 acres at 5158 Beckwith Road, map 78, parcels 14, from single-family residential RS40 to commercial interchange planned unit development, CI PUD, and adopt the preliminary master development plan for the Gateway Business Park. So if you're here to comment on these 4 items, we're here to hear your comments on the 4 items. If you have other comments, we'll have citizen comments at our regular meeting scheduled at 6:30. But if you would like to make a comment on these 4 items, I'd invite you to come to the podium, give your name and address for the record. You'll be recognized for 3 minutes. All right, seeing none, we will adjourn the public hearing, and we will re-adjourn for a regular scheduled meeting at 6:30. Good evening, everyone. It's June 13th, the Mount Juliet Board of Commissioners. I will call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. We have 4 elected officials and 1 on the way, so we have all 5 here. We have a quorum present. At this time, I will set the agenda as published if there's no objections. We have a 253-page agenda to get through tonight. On unfinished, 6 ordinances, 1 resolution, new business, 4 more ordinances, 6 more resolutions, and a discussion item on the heel of the agenda. If you want to follow along, we have agendas in the wire baskets on the side. And of course, if you're at home, you're welcome to follow along online with us. With that said, I will ask our fire chief, Chief Luffman, sir, if you would please come to the podium and lead us in the pledge and invocation.
If you would pray with me, please. Gracious God, we invite you into these proceedings, and we thank you for the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Bless this commission, this administration, and these department heads as we act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Bless and protect those that stand watch over our liberty and safety, both here and abroad. And finally, dear Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of your people. We ask this in confidence of your goodness and in your Son's name. Amen. If you would stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Chief, thank you. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes, one from the regular meeting on May 9th and the second from May 23rd. Is there a motion for the minutes? Have a motion? Second. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Mullally? Yes, sir. Go.
Okay. On the May 23rd minutes, when Andy was up here talking about capital projects and Beckwith Road came up, I had inquired about a signal at the 4-way at Beckwith and South Rutland and South Posey, which are not in the minutes. I'd like to make a motion, if it's okay, that it was on record that I had inquired about it. And Andy had some comments after that. It's right before right before the hour, like 57 into the minutes. So I would like to motion, if that's okay, that I had inquired about putting a signal there.
All right, there's a motion. Get a second? Have a second. Any discussion on the item? Commissioner Justice? Vice Mayor Justice, excuse me.
No, it's fine. Could I suggest, because when the minutes are put in, those minutes they're established at that point. Could you not read that in your comments tonight so that it is actually in the minutes for tonight's meeting as opposed to then, so that that's actually...
I could, yeah, I can do that. It was I listened to the video 5 times. It's very difficult to hear Andy's responses throughout the whole thing, but I can kind of, or perhaps if he's there or Matt's here, he can kind of give some, input on that. But as far as my inquiry, yeah, I can do that.
I mean, if you would do that, I would feel what we've done, and I'm sorry, what we have done, if you think about it, we've made a practice in the past of when we tried to amend the minutes, you can amend the minutes if there was a mistake made in the minutes, but we've not allowed anything to be put on the record in that format. So what I'm suggesting is you do it in this format. That way it automatically goes on the record as an amendment, or not as an amendment to the minutes, but as a part of the permanent record.
During
tonight's meeting.
The commissioner comment time?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I would have no problem with that. And I believe that kind of keeps our standing intact on what we've been able to accomplish in the past on the minutes being amended. Mayor, I don't know if to make sense what I'm saying.
Well, I'd make sure everything gets captured too on the video. It was hard to hear last time too. So get it reaffirmed.
And that would actually give you an opportunity to clarify your position as well. So.
Okay. Sure.
That work?
Yeah. So I withdraw.
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 All right, it's withdraw. All right, anything else? I'll call for a vote separately on these because I think we may have some abstentions on one or two of these. But the first is for the approval of 4-1, which is the regular meetings minutes from May 9th. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This is May 9th.
Yes.
Aye.
All right. That carries. Is that 5? Or any opposed, I guess I should ask. That carries. The next is from the regular meeting on May 23rd. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions?
See.
Got one abstention, so carries 4-0-1. Next item on the agenda is citizen comments. This is the opportunity, if you'd like to address the Board of Commissioners, would ask you to come forward, give your name and address for the record. You'll be recognized for 3 minutes at that point. I just ask you to keep the comments upon topics that are related to either the meeting or the city and not on individuals. Yes, sir. Name and address for the
My
record.
name is Tom Needham, live at 12425 Lebanon Road.
All right, you're recognized for
I'd
3
like to
minutes.
invite everybody to our fireworks show on the 4th of July at 9 o'clock at Circle Creek Ranch. It's going to be free and everybody's invited to show up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I understand you had a nice show for Memorial Day as well. Anyone else would like to address the Board of Commissioners?
Hello, my name is Asia. I live at Willow Creek Apartments, and I've submitted a couple concerns to the Building Codes Department, namely in regards to our dumpsters overflowing on a continual basis. I have to keep garbage in my trunk instead of keeping it in my house and smelling up my house. I keep it in my trunk, and I've had up to 4 bags of garbage taking up space in my trunk. Now, Jacob has been great. He said that there's a process being revamped but it needs to go up the chain of command, et cetera, to reduce the amount of days from 10 when someone calls in a complaint to, I don't know what the new number will be. But I just wanted to say 10 is definitely way too long. Because in those 10 days, if they take the entire 10 days, then to fix the issue, then we could potentially have bags of trash piling up. And then sometimes they'll try to figure out a way to make it something that we're doing wrong. Like, I'm assuming Jacob spoke to her the other day, and then she put out a notice, she being the property manager, sent out a notice to tenants that same day saying that we can't use one of the dumpsters because it's a construction dumpster, but there's no construction happening. So that was kind of weird to me. And then number 2, we just have the one dumpster then, which is generally overflowing. So that makes no sense. And so with that 10-day process, then we're still waiting to have a trash receptacle to use. And then I guess some tenants were maybe taking it over to the rec center. So then we got a notification about that to don't use that dumpster, which makes sense, but then that's grounds for eviction. So it's like, so this just brings me back to my original statement that 10-day waiting process needs to be revamped like immediately, because this has been going on. I've been living there 2.5 years. And I know my first concern or complaint that I called was last year to the city. So that's all I have to say.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. And I believe I saw the city manager acknowledging that he was aware of the situation. Yeah. All right. Anyone else with comments for the commission?
I just want to thank you.
Name and address for the record,
My
please.
name Sally Robertson. I live at 423 Willis Pass, Mount Juliet. And actually, I just want to thank the city and our police officers here and everyone that was involved in Right of Silence, including, this proclamation that you signed, the mayor signed and gave to me. I think it probably should stay with the city on file. So I'll probably give this back to you maybe. And you can keep it on file with city manager, whoever. But I just really want to say thank you for supporting the right of silence. Even though there was a mix up on the time, apparently it was 7 and I was 6. I still know there's 2 events. I came to both, but I, definitely want to thank you guys for supporting both events, the 6 and the 7, especially the police officers who followed. There was actually 3 riders on the 7 o'clock, but I just want to go on record and saying thank you to the city, to the police department. Guys, all top notch. So, and that's, and also one other quick thing. This shirt, I'm wearing this shirt because it's a clean, I don't know, Kenny Martin. Let's stay here, I guess. It says clean, it was a clean air day that the city did like in 2007. Actually, I made this little logo, but it would be cool if you could readdress that and have a clean air day again. I know, just food for thought. So, yeah, that's all.
All right. Well, thank you.
And can I give these?
Yeah, you can leave with our city manager if you.
Whoever, I just got.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just have to see if I can keep it running. Thank you.
Yep.
That's all.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all.
Anyone else to address the commission? All right, seeing none, we will close citizen comments and move to commissioner comments and report. With that, I'll recognize Commissioner Scott Hefner. Sir, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate everybody coming out this evening, and for those watching online and on TV. Just a reminder, 50th anniversary is coming up July 16th. I think there's a dunk tank that is going to be at this event, correct? And I think some elected officials are going to be required to sit in that dunk tank. We can get a timed schedule of when each elected official is going to be responsible for showing up. That would be great. Got some side bets on who's going to raise the most money, getting baseballs thrown at them. But in any event, everybody come out for that. It's going to be a big event. We got some top-notch talent. It's going to be out there. Daryl Worley, of course, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my wife is going to be singing as well. So thank the city on her behalf for allowing her to sing and participate. Got a big meeting coming up tonight, first reading of the budget. I'm going to thank everybody, all the department heads for their input and their suggestions on the numbers. Dana, thank you for pulling that together. Just a couple of quick comments. I know in Public Works, I saw a lot of construction budget numbers for sidewalks, which I'm all for sidewalks, but next year I'd like to see more construction dollars going towards our roads. We drive to work, we drive to get our food, we drive to the hospital, doctor's appointments, and I know there's a process involved, and sometimes that is very lengthy, but I would like to see some construction dollars in the budget next year for our roads. I am going to be sponsoring in a few months a food truck amendment for our neighborhoods. I know this it's going to come with some controversy. We've had some workshops on this recently, so just heads up on that. It's probably going to be looking like August when I'm going to bring this forward to the BOC and a vote on that. Want to thank, he was here earlier. He left, Mr. Needham. Want to thank him and his family for putting on the Memorial Day fireworks display. It was phenomenal. I got to watch it from my balcony over at Vintage Station North, so that was a nice treat. Last but not least, temperatures were starting off the summer. We're already in the upper 90s, so please be mindful of your pets, dogs, cats that travel around with you. Please do not leave them in your cars. That's just brutal. Don't do it, please. So please be mindful as these temperatures start to creep up into the upper 90s and even the hundreds. So one last thing I want to say, congratulations, Jackson Gallagher. Wish him all the best. He's a Jackson Hills resident. He and his wife have been big supporters of mine, helped me on my campaign. He's moving on, moving up to Ohio. So I want to send him a personal thanks and wish him all nothing but the best. in his future endeavor. With that, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, recognize Commissioner Mullally for 5 minutes.
Okay. On May 23rd at our budget work session, we had the discussion on capital projects, and when Beckwith Road came up, I had inquired about getting a signal at the four-way back there at South Rutland and Posey in Beckwith. I had asked Andy about that, and then go ahead and see about installing that and have development pay us back as they come into that area over there. So I just wanted to get that on the record that I did inquire about it or ask about it. I listened to the video 5 times. It was very hard to hear all of Andy's comments, but I think the gist of it was he would rather wait on the signal. And you can, Matt, you can confirm if I heard, oh, there's Andy. If I heard you right, you would rather wait and see if some turning lanes would help the situation before a signal.
Yes. So as part of our budget proposal this year, we are putting in engineering money for Beckwith Road widening, and it would include that intersection. So that would be obviously a key first project. I think there's a potential there that we could do some quick start before we do the roadway widening itself. There's opportunity probably for some turn lanes there. We would analyze that. I think we would bring in a signal as needed, obviously, but we would want to take a look and see probably some options, I guess.
Okay. Well, that was mainly for the record, because I do know that backs up in the ambulance is almost impossible to get through there. Okay. And then I had 4 things. I sent out my June newsletter. What is this? May newsletter last week. So if you don't get it and you would like to subscribe, let me know, or you can go on my website and sign up. The Wilson County Commission is having a election institute, which is a training. And I took it a couple of years ago, and I would highly recommend that anyone take it if you're interested in how the voting process works here in Wilson County. It is on June 18th from 8:30 to 3, and you do get an hour for lunch, and you can order a lunch if you'd like. So for details, just contact the Wilson County Election Commission. BPAC on June 23rd, it's a Thursday night, is having our Greenway Walk. Right now, as of right now, we're meeting at the Cedar Creek Trailhead, which is on the corner of Woodridge Place and Golden Bear Gateway. That's where we're meeting at 6 o'clock, and we're going to walk around the trail that's there. That also depends on the Cedar Creek construction over there behind Charlie Daniels Park, depending on if a portion of that opens up or not. But as of right now, that's where we're meeting. And a rain out date is on June 30th. So everyone is invited. Let's see. Heads up notice that South Rutland Road is going to be closing the end of the month because of the project that's going in Waterford Park. There's 2 90-degree turns. Those are going to be sort of evened out a little bit. And so the developer expects a 2-week closing period for that. And this has to be completed before school starts back. So that's going to be, Public Works is going to be sending out a notice toward about a week ahead of the closure. So just a heads up on that. The South Rutland Road. Now this is south of Providence Trail, where it comes around and comes out at the 3-way there at the back entrance of Baird Farms. So just a heads up on that. And that is all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next up, I'll recognize our Vice Mayor Justice for 5 minutes.
No report, Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll move on to Commissioner Trevette. You're recognized for 5 minutes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, Mayor. Just want to kind of reiterate a little bit. Yes, I'm excited about the 50-year anniversary. I'll tell you, that's going to be awesome. Just kind of highlight this past week. I was just talking to Mr. Rocky about some of the success with movie night for all the residents that were able to make it out. He said over 400 folks were out there at movie night. So thank you for all the citizens and families that were able to make it out and watch that. They said the food trucks, that were out there, I guess they were successful at doing what they did, which was bringing folks in to be able to, enjoy the movie night. So would also like to reiterate, thank you to the folks, all the department heads on the budget this year. This is my first year. Well, I guess it'd be my second year, I guess, rolling back into the budget. My first year was such a crash course that this year I really got a chance to, do a little deeper dive. And I'll tell you, folks, for the residents, this community, I'll tell you, I mean, they count every penny and look for the dimes and everything underneath the couch cushions, so to speak. So I just commend everybody that's out there that's looking at what we have. I know we don't take it for granted, and I'm just honored to be part of a bigger team. So thank you for everybody that's pitching in and putting time, effort in there. Obviously, the community with the pools and family and friends, I'll tell you, every year, we're all blessed to be able to be part of something, whether if it's to be able to go out and play in the sprinklers, play in the water, play in the pools, but just be aware. We're all family. Think about, what kids in the pool, people get to talking and we all forget about the safety. Last thing we want to do is ruin our summer to an accident. So think about these kids that are in the pool, they're swimming. Yes, it's a great time for us to be able to talk to our neighbors, but it's also a great opportunity for us to be aware of our kids and also kind of piggyback off of Commissioner Hefner with the heat. Right now with gas prices, a lot of families are trying to cut back heating, cooling, mainly cooling this year with the heat coming out. But get to know your neighbors. Make sure that we're supporting them. Make sure that the elderly, or, if there's something we could do to help them out, if it's simply just, checking in on them, doing whatever we can to be part of a bigger community, look into that. I was actually just this past weekend helping out a couple neighbors with their heating, cooling systems and doing everything that we can to, to make sure that they got cooling this summer. So let's see here. One more thing. There's been a lot of talk, obviously, like when we talk about community awareness, for me personally, I know this platform is all about, making sure that we talk about what's going on in our district. And I'll tell you, some folks reached out to me this last couple of weeks, when it came to the bigger scale of things. And I'm not going to get into it too much, but, when you see something, say something. Our first responders, we have got the best of the best. So if you see something where, maybe a neighbor isn't as stable or just doesn't seem right, just bring it up, talk about it. Mental health, we talk about so many things out there when it comes to making laws, rulings, whatever it is out there. But really what we need to do is really get involved with our community, know what's going on. If you see something, say something. So, Mayor, that concludes my report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. At this point, I'll recognize our city manager. Sir, you're recognized for 10 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for everybody that's come out tonight and everybody that's watching from home. Just real quick, I'd like to thank everybody with budget talk tonight. The importance, especially right now with some of our supply chain issues and cost of living increases, to ask our residents to continue to do what they've been doing and shop in our community, support our local businesses, in particular our mom and pop businesses. And we get lots of requests daily. Our elected body does as well. So I'd like to thank you for laying the foundation for such a great community to where businesses still want to come in what's considered trying times. We've got a long grocery list of businesses that's already committed to come to Mount Juliet and many more coming. And then last but not least, Ms. Asia had asked about the apartments there behind the police station. Fortunately, they've been going through a sale for some time. That sale occurred here recently. And I think the new owners have plans of putting somewhere near $2 million into that development to hopefully improve some issues they've been having there. We've been after them for some time, but I think the ordinance change from 10 days to 5 will go a long way in helping us with enforcement efforts. And Mayor, that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, sir. With that, we will move into our unfinished business portion of the agenda. We'll start us off with 9A1, an ordinance to amend Part B of the Unified Development Code of the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, known as Zoning Regulations, Ordinance 2001-29, adopted October 8th, 2001, as amended by modifying Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, Section 14, 109.4.1, Public Notice by Signage General Requirements. Have a motion. Second. Any discussion on this? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? 9A1 carries. 9A2, an ordinance to annex into the corporate boundaries of the city of Mount Juliet approximately 0.16 acres, a portion of property located at 8854 Sundersville Road, map 32H, Group A, Parcel 12 and 14, and located within the city's urban growth boundary. Is there a motion? Have a motion. And a second. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That carries 5-0. 9A3, an ordinance to rezone a portion of the property known as 8854 Sundersville Road, map 32H, parcel 12 and 14 from Wilson County R1 to single-family residential RS30. Have a motion. Second. All right. Any questions, comments, discussion? All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Carries unanimously. 9A4, an ordinance to rezone approximately 47.56 acres of property along Golden Bear Gateway, Athletes Way, and Rutland Drive, being map 77, parcel 14.01, and map 78, parcel 455.046, and part of parcel 10.02 in the city of Mount Juliet, Wilson County, Tennessee, from single-family residential RS40 and Office Professional Services OPS to Industrial Restrictive Plan Unit Development IR PUD, and adopt a preliminary master development plan for Project Jolene. Have a motion and a second. It's on the table. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Commissioner Hefner, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a few changes I'd like to propose via amendment. If it's okay and appropriate to do it now, I'm going to.
Well, yeah, I believe it's second reading.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'd like to make a motion to amend the Project Jolene PUD. I'm going to read them. I can do one at a time, or
Are you amending sections of the ordinance that exist or adding?
I'm going to be amending some of the sections and then adding a new.
All right, and we've got cheat sheets here. This is even better.
So I can do these one at a time. They all fall under Public Works.
Okay.
Comments.
Go for it.
All right. So Public Works comment number 5, I'd like to revise to read the following. Golden Bear Gateway at Project Access. The future build-out plan for Golden Bear Gateway is to have a full signalized access points equally spaced in the area of the project site. Additional access points in the area are planned to be right in, right out only. B, a conditional full in, right out only access may be permitted until which time that a traffic signal is warranted and installed at Golden Bear Gateway and Rutland Drive. Median island work will be necessary to correctly delineate the traffic. 5C, once the traffic signal is installed, the access point shall revert into a right in, right out only configuration, and the median island shall be extended through the intersection. 5D, provide a right turn deceleration lane on Golden Bear Gateway. Go to the next. Or do we want to?
We can break them apart. I mean, we can always make a motion to divide these two if
That's
need be.
true. So let me go ahead and move on with the next. And we can get Andy Barlow comments on these too. This has to do with Detention Pond. Right now, as it's proposed, there are 2 detention ponds that service just the industrial portion of this PUD. I would like for the applicant to work with our staff to come up with a detention pond plan that accommodates both the industrial and the commercial sites. Commercial sites were left out of that. And then the access road. Access road for the commercial sites to Athletes Way may be separated from the access road to the industrial site. And then the last, this is as far as the contribution. Right now, as it stands, it's $930,000 contribution to the city, specifically for East Division Street road improvements. What I'd like to do is add a CPI increase based on 2022 and a total amount not to exceed $1 million. That's it.
All right, I'll second then. It's on the table. We want to hear from our Public Works Director, or is there any comments before? Well, have
Sure.
at it.
I can take it. So I feel really good on the access configuration. We talked through that. The basis of that basically is ultimately when we want to have good access control in Golden Bear in the future. But in the meantime, traffic volumes on there are less. And so there's a little give and take on there with allowing more of a full in consideration with only a right out. The left out is obviously the most dangerous configuration. So the left in would be permitted now. And then at which time the traffic picks up, basically the trigger would be when a traffic signal is warranted at Rutland Drive. Install a signal there, remove the left turn into the site here, direct everybody to the safe movement at the traffic signal. So I think that made a lot of sense for the here, the here and now, and then the future final build out of Golden Bear Gateway. So I think it's a win-win scenario on that one. The ponds, I think the idea there is to try to incorporate some combined drainage where we can. There's probably some challenges there. Talking with the engineer, I'll probably ask Caleb to give a little bit more information on that. The grades are difficult to try to make it work because the commercial sites are at the roadway grade and the industrial sites are probably sitting about 20 or 30 feet above that. And so to try to tie in those could be difficult. I think there's some possibility to do at least one or more or a few of these sites. But I think we want to try to combine those where we can. It may be difficult to do all of them, but I think let's try to combine them where we can. And so probably one thing I'd say on the ponds, we could say, however, this would be subject to final approval at FMDP and balance commercial site visibility with the drainage system functionality could be a good alternate. But ultimately, I think that we're going to have to take a longer, harder look at the drainage. We did a good job of looking at the sewer. I feel good about the sewer, but we need to do a little bit closer look at the drainage. As far as the access roads, the PUD documents that are included in there do show the combined industrial and commercial. I think this kind of goes back to the access on Golden Bear. Let's allow some better access for the commercial sites on Athletes Way. I'm not that worried about access management on Athletes Way at all. It's not too big of a through road. It's mostly industrial traffic. And I think the grades work out better. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. And again, to the sewer, we've added in the conditions in there as far as going gravity on the sewer. That takes less of a burden on the city in the future for us to have to maintain another pump station. So we direct it down to the existing station that Amazon just built, which has capacity.
Is the sewer captured as it is now? That's gravity, or do we need to amend this?
I thought we had it in the conditions. Let me double check. Yes. Item number 10, we say sewer facilities shall be directed to the existing gravity sewers east of the property adjacent to Rutland Drive or to the west connected. So ultimately what it amounts to shall be directed to the existing gravity sewers east of the property. Or I'm sorry. west, connect into the existing Amazon pump station. We have it captured. What's written in the PUD is a little bit broader, but we've actually zoned that down a little bit more.
But you're happy with it?
We are
Okay.
very happy.
And I guess my question is, and I don't know, maybe this Commissioner Hefner or yourself, what's the big advantage you see over 2 ponds versus 1? It's the same volume, I suppose.
I think the idea is, and what was verbally discussed once before when we were initially discussing how this would work is each commercial lot could or would be responsible. But the idea of it, though, we talk about Providence phase UC, which is the home 2 suites and all that, 2 rivers included, that all flows into one regional detention pond. Made it very easy for all those sites coming in after the fact, St. Thomas, all the others, to be built and just say, hey, let's verify the numbers, you're good. They don't have to do any other infrastructure work. They just sign on to the maintenance agreement. If I'd like to have less ponds, it's less for my staff to have to maintain or review or inspect in the future. Right now, we have 1 full-time person just going and inspecting existing ponds. So the less we add, the better. What you're looking at with these, with the commercial sites, if they each had their own, probably looking at a lot of underground, that's expensive. Or if you try to combine them all into one, you could take up some of the commercial real estate. So anywhere that we can, I think I would like to try to push that direction.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Mullally?
How much of the impact fee, which now would be $1 million, is going toward East Division road improvements?
100%.
100%.
Mhm.
All right. On the pond, your comments on the pond, do we need to add an amendment to your motion?
I think he's already.
I
No?
left it up to the applicant to work with
Okay.
staff.
I think Scott captured it pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would just add that we settle it at FMDP.
Yeah, to me, the gap there that I'm trying to close is the capacity of the 2
2 ponds that's showing on the plan is only addressing the industrial side. So I want to make sure that detention ponds during this PUD process and approval, or be it through working with staff, addresses the whole PUD, not just the industrial side.
Okay.
Any other questions for our Public Works Director? All right. Well, I see the applicant approaching. Do you have something you'd like to add, sir?
Very minor. Caleb Thorne, Reagan Smith, 315 Woodland Street. I just liked how Andy's comment was added as an amendment. It added a little bit more than just FMDP. Because the worst thing I could see happening is the comment get put there, Caleb dies, Andy dies. We're not here to design this thing the way we want to and function. And then the out parcels are developed in a non-functional way, just for the purpose of trying to force something that maybe might not work. So I think the flexibility added in this comment was looking at working with staff through FMDP, but not adhering to a bad end product just to make that work, because there's a lot of ways to make it function and give that nice curb appeal and get the nice retail out parcels that you want in your community. So I thought his statement was well, if that could be added as an addition.
What's the, I'm not,
Um,
I'm kind of lost on what was being requested.
Well, I think we're trying to clarify what specifically the requirements are going to be for the ponds. If we can't, I don't know, right word, create the mega pond. What language are we going to put in here to allow a fallback? So I don't think the applicant's in a position where they can't develop, or it gets developed in some way that's, we just want to make a mess of this and put it captured here in the ordinance. Because second reading, so we need to get it
That's
right.
correct. And probably the best way to do it is say, make every effort to direct the stormwater into one regional pond by Athlete's Way if possible. The grades physically may not work on some of these. If it doesn't flow there, it's not gonna work. But I think that we settle that out. I think there's possibility of making at least a few of these work, but the grades could be difficult for all of them. So I guess the basic way to say it would be make every effort to combine drainage between the commercial and industrial, but be subject to final approval with FMDP.
Make every effort to combine drainage for both
Yes.
industrial and commercial, subject to final approval and FMDP.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that. Sorry, allergies. I didn't have a problem with allergies down in Florida.
Just to make sure I got it. Make every effort to combine drainage for industrial and commercial, subject to final approval at FMDP. Good.
Yeah.
All right, I'll add it. All right.
I'm good with that.
You're good with that? I think I seconded it, so I'll be good with it too. All right, we've landed the pond. Any other questions or comments on number 5, which was the Golden Bear Gateway project access? All right.
Wait, what'd you say?
Comment number 5, which was revise the following for the Golden Bear Gateway project access, is the first 4 items that Commissioner Hefner read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could summarize it in like 3 sentences. We're allowing a left-in conditional on stoplight getting installed on Rutland. So that's the espresso version of
Okay.
those 4 points.
Vice Mayor?
Can we not have some discussion about that as it relates to that being changed? And actually, the language would be that when it is warranted, as opposed, I mean, it shouldn't be just put in stone that would be, that left end would go away, that left end term would go away. What you would probably be looking at would be if it warrants it. There are opportunities that development may have on the other side of the street to extend that turn lane so that they can have 2. And I don't want to see that just arbitrarily just go away because they got to put a red light up there.
Well,
Like there ought to be an opportunity if the development can, on both sides of the road over there can work together to get that, then why not allow it all the time?
So the difficulty with the left end for the property across the street is that you're going to have to widen Gold Bear Gateway to make it work because of the double left turn lanes that go into Amazon that was constructed. So there have to be some pretty significant work on Golden Bear Gateway to make the left end for the opposite
I think you're the
side
one that
work.
told me one time there's nothing that can't be fixed if enough money's thrown at it. Isn't that correct?
That's true.
Okay, so let's at least give them an opportunity to throw enough money at it from the other side of the road over there that it becomes a possibility. It's not just being shut down.
Yeah. And so the idea there, so the property across the street has a lot of the same conditions as this. It borders the same intersection, Athlete's Way signal. If and when the signal goes in at Rutland Drive, it has access to Rutland as well. So it would have, I'm thinking an equivalent access consideration between the two of them.
So could we not make this based on a warrant study as opposed to just slamming the door on it with the traffic light coming in?
Well, so the idea of the traffic light is the warrants are based on the volumes. And
Sorry?
so the warrants are based on the volumes. And so it's a very empirical formula of different levels of warrants. And so if you're saying that a signal is warranted there, then you're saying that the volumes have reached a threshold where there's pretty bad delay and to where the signal's then needed. So that's kind of the idea of it, is to say, well, that's because I tried to figure, I mean, to say whether a left turn lane's warranted or not, or to warrant taking out a left turn lane, there's not really good guidance on that. But there is on signal warrants. And so there's pretty tried and true guidelines on how that works. So my
Are those
thought-
the warrants that TDOT uses?
No, these are federal warrants.
Federal warrants. That makes it even better. I just don't like the idea of just automatically shutting down that left-hand turn lane when there's an opportunity for the same thing on the other side. And yeah, if the development can afford to widen the road, then let them. Yeah, if they want to widen Golden Bear right there to allow for ingress, egress, and acceleration, deceleration lanes. Yeah, but let the private sector be responsible for that. And then if it comes down to it and they don't want to do it, then fine. We shut down the left-hand turn lane and move along.
Well, the idea behind it, I think, is really just safe movement of traffic. If we can cut out the left turn lanes and really trying to preserve Golden Bear Gateway, we want to give good access to and from the developments, obviously. But the other aspect of it is we got to balance that with the movement on Golden Bear. I don't want to have another Mount Juliet Road Providence situation if we can help it.
Yeah, engineers created that, by the way. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Before my time.
That was for Caleb Thorne, also my buddy over.
So are you saying remove the condition?
Oh, just say it.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
So are you suggesting remove the conditional light?
Yeah, I am. I would like to remove it and make it based on a warrant study and give the opportunity for the people on the other side of the street as they develop that to be able to widen the road there and then put their own left-hand turn lane in so it's not limited. I want to get full access to any private enterprise that we can get. That's where our money comes from is from the retail sales tax dollars. I mean, we don't depend on property tax. We depend on sales tax. Any penny that we can get from them, we need to give them every opportunity. So you tell me what you think. I'm good.
No, I mean, you're not going to get an argument out of me. I mean, if we can maintain the left turn in contingent on the land across the street
Yes,
developing.
right. And give them an opportunity to develop and widen that road if they have an opportunity to do that.
So essentially you'd be removing the conditional stoplight, the left
Yes, sir.
turn conditional on the stoplight on
Yes.
Rutland. I mean, he's the engineer, so if it fixing the problem is throwing money at it and the developers across the street want a left-in turn, then they'll have to pay to widen Golden Bear
Correct.
Parkway.
Exactly.
Is that cost going to stymie any potential development? Is it going to hinder any potential development?
Well, no, because they don't have to do it.
Okay.
We
All
could
right.
make the light subject to development on the other side of the street.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If you want to amend
I would
my
like to amend
amendment
that. if we
to
could.
remove the condition of the stoplight, I'm fine with that.
We got some language. Help. Yeah. Sheila says help.
So is the left turn in permanent then?
The left end would be permanent on that line, yes. Then dependent on the other side of the road being able to develop. Now, if the other side of the road comes in, they say we're going to develop, but we don't want to widen the road, then it would be, at that point, a warrant base would probably say that it would have to terminate that left end at that point. I'm not saying that the left end is not a good idea. What I'm saying is we give the development on the other side of the road an opportunity to widen and make that a left end onto their property as well.
I would say this, there's no warrant condition for removing a left turn lane though.
I'm sorry?
There's no warrant condition for removing a left turn lane. There's only warrants for adding a left turn lane.
Are you asking me or telling me?
No,
'Cause
telling,
okay.
but that would be something we could not compute.
Why?
Well, it would really be subjective at that point in time. Basically, so the idea of what I had written down was really just more on a volumetric kind of situation. But if we're saying more or less the development doesn't want to do it, then it's really just subjective. And then if the development doesn't want to do it, then we take it away, whether there's a high volume there or not. If that's the case. I guess I'm a little confused on it as far as how you get to the finished product.
I want to make sure, I want to give every opportunity for that left-hand turn lane to stay there permanently. For the main access to be coming off of Athlete's Way, or you had to come down, turn around, and go right into the development, I believe limits the retail side of that drastically.
Well, the idea behind the access, so they do have the spine road going behind all of it. So you have the opportunity for a left in at Rutland. And then in the interim, as we've got it laid out, an opportunity for a left in at the main middle point, and then another opportunity for a left at Athlete's Way. So that right now, the way we've got it laid out based on proposed would be 3 lefts. And so the idea was that I had in mind to say, well, that middle left could just be conditional. When the volumes really tick up, then, okay, let's take that out, and then we shift everybody just to the other 2. And the basis for that really is just a safety consideration.
Commissioner?
The other thing to consider, and I agree with you on the left out permanent, because I just thought something dawned on me. We're going to have 18-wheelers, distribution trucks that are going to be coming down Athlete's Way and Rutland, potentially, correct, on both of these?
Not on Rutland.
Not on Rutland?
It's only on Athlete's Way.
Okay, so on Athlete's Way
Mhm.
is where all of the distribution trucks, all the industrial vehicles. Okay. But you're going to have a mix of commercial retail and industrial traffic using that road, right? Intermingling. So
I see that as that could be extremely hazardous when you start mixing tractor trailers with granny.
That's every road.
Yeah, I know. But now we're designing it to be exactly that, and I have a problem with that. Is there a fix, Andy? To what I'm talking about and what you want? Is there some happy medium that we can go to that would affect?
Well, I'll say my initial comment was just a right in, right out. I was attempting to try to throw this out there as the happy medium.
I mean, when you look at Rutland Road and you look at Athlete's Way, you talk about the middle point there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really conducive to spacing for a light there in the middle?
No, not for the light in the middle.
no.
Okay. But you're talking about widening it for the left. If somebody on the other side widens the road, then it could stay to the left. Yeah. There's no warrant to remove a left.
No, really the idea behind removing a left is really just safety. If you've got a crash history, I mean, that's probably the only situation. And, you see some, I don't know if anybody's been down to Orange Beach. They took the main roadway going down through there and did a bunch of U-turns.
They did what?
They did a bunch of U-turns. They
Oh
took
yeah,
out
I drove
everything.
that. That was, that worked
They
about as
took
well
out-
as most of these roundabouts I've been on.
But the idea behind that was they were having a lot of crashes on that roadway, so they recooked the whole state route.
Yeah, that particular, it was a mess in there. I just, I think we're in agreement. I don't think that the left-hand turn needs to go away. I mean, once it's been established and you start taking away accesses, you're actually taking away dollars from the retailers. And that's, I just can't see justifying that if there's another way out, another opportunity. Plus mixing big box or tractor trailer traffic with regular mom and pop traffic. I see that being an issue too. We've got a bunch of people that aren't from here driving up there with these big tractor trailer rigs, and then I could just see major issues.
So what's the path forward?
I would say just delete the left hand conditional. at this point.
Leave the left conditional.
Take it out.
Take the conditional.
Conditional
Just make
out.
it
Make it a
permanent.
left end, let it be permanent. That doesn't mean that we can't make some modifications down the street or down the road as, pardon the pun, as it's needed. I mean, correct?
You would, but you would owe damages to the businesses.
Are you whispering or is it my hearing?
It's very quiet coming
Yeah,
from the
sorry.
microphone up there.
Yeah, we won't be able to hear it when we go back. and
Oh.
read it all. Y'all
I'll
are
eat the
not
mic.
in this We can't hear that. Just let you know.
Well, that's your blessing. Go ahead.
Based on our history, if you take away any access points, even if you leave a right in, right out, you're going to owe the businesses money for damages. So if we took it out and we left it permanent in here and we said, another commission 10, 15, 20 years down the road said, we don't like that left turn, they're going to owe hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions to the businesses for damages. But if you capture it in the PUD as a conditional now, then it's established in law and therefore you're not due any damages.
So we just went from what engineers think should happen to what we think lawyers will do 20 years from now. And both of those scare me just a little bit.
That's actually an appraiser. Matt and I ran through that on Mount Juliet Road.
At this point, I would like to take the conditional out of it.
All right, I'm fine with that.
That would be my motion.
I'll second.
All right, a motion and second. Which, on yours, you had A, B, C, and D, striking all A, B, C, or D.
That would be B, removing. So it would be a condition, removing the condition, a full in, right out, only access. And then removing
Midway of the retail.
may be permitted until such time a traffic signal is warranted and installed. So
Let me see yours if you marked it up.
Yeah. Can I extend your question real quick?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. Andy, are you saying you do not support the vice mayor's amendment?
No.
That's not what you're saying, or is that correct?
I do not support the permanent left hand.
Okay, what he's proposing.
That's correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you got your motion, you second. Okay, I'm going to attempt to read this as an amendment to the amendment. So, all right, bear with me, everyone. You want to go to the restroom? Now's your chance, everyone. So, all right, here we go. On comment number 5, revise the following. Golden Bear Gateway Project Access A. Future build-out plan for Golden Bear Gateway is to have fully signalized access points equal spaced in the area of the project site. Additional access points in the area are planned to be right in and right out only. And then the next point was B. From the original motion, conditional has been struck to read full in, right out, only access. Then we've struck the rest of the sentence and we'll conclude B with median island work will be necessary to correct and delineate traffic. Then C and D remain as is. Once the traffic signal is installed, the access point shall be reverted into a right in, right out only configuration, and the median island shall be extended through the intersection. D, provide a right turn deceleration lane on Golden Bear Parkway. The pond.
Hold on, Mayor. C would be stricken completely.
All right. Commissioner Hefner is recommending C to be stricken as well. Is your motion, Vice Mayor?
Or I'm not real sure I recognize it now.
So C states, once the traffic signal is installed, so that goes against
Yes.
the access point.
That's
Shall be
correct,
revert to a
yes.
right and right out. So that has to go away.
So C will be stricken. You second, Commissioner Trevette, are you in support?
Yes,
Okay. So C is stricken, and then it leaves us with D, which I guess would be renumbered as C, to provide a to provide a right turn deceleration lane on Golden Bear Gateway. The pond, I don't think we had a motion to amend, so I'm going to leave that as it is to come back and readdress the pond. And you also had on the access road for the commercial sites access may be separated from the access from the industrial sites, and to increase the contribution to $1 million,
Not to exceed 1 million.
and not to exceed $1 million.
Based on a 2022 CPI index.
2022 CPI index. All right, have captured that, Vice Mayor, to your satisfaction?
Yes, sir.
All right, and Commissioner Trevette.
Yes.
All right, that's on the table. I've read it.
Okay, and this vote is for the amendment.
This is for the amendment.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments on that amendment? Commissioner Hefner.
Just a comment on the ponds. I believe we did change that it would make every effort to have a
Combined.
I don't
combined.
think we got a motion on that. So if you're not opposed, I'd just like to read it separately.
Sure.
Yeah,
We
because
can do
we'll
that.
catch that and get it.
Perfect.
And that way we don't have multiple amendments to the amendment going.
I'm good.
All right, we're ready to vote on this, or any other comments? All right, all in favor of the amendment to the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Does that carry? Opposed? Nay. That carries 3-2. So it is amended. We're back as amended once. We still have myself and Commissioner Mullally. We're back on, I think, the open item of the pond. And if you want, I'll read what I've got written down here. We'll talk about the detention pond. It's make every effort to combine drainage for industrial and commercial, subject to final improvement at final master development plan.
Yes.
Okay. That's your motion?
Yes, my motion.
All right, then I'll second. Any questions or comments on the pond? All right.
Andy, don't look at me. I didn't say nothing.
All in favor of the second amendment to the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
What's the second amendment?
I oppose. That motion carries. I didn't hear any nays. All right, we're back on the amendment, or back on the ordinance as amended twice now. Any other questions or comments? I'll pause and ask our city recorder if she's on page with us.
I would love your copy of what you wrote up, but I think I got it.
Okay. All right, back on the ordinance as twice amended. Any other questions or comments before we vote on this second and final reading? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. So it now passes twice amended.
Where do you want to plug it in?
All right, our next item on the agenda is 9A5, an ordinance to rezone approximately 17.91 acres of property at 5158 Beckwith Road, being map 78, parcel 14, in the city of Mount Juliet, Wilson County, Tennessee, from single-family residential RS40 to commercial interchange plan unit development CI PUD, and adopt the preliminary master development plan for for Gateway Business Park. Second. And I keep wanting to put Golden in there, so maybe that's, but it is Golden. That's right. All right. Any questions or comments on 9A5? Commissioner Mullally.
My question would be for Andy. I don't see any proposals or requests for multi-paths or sidewalks along Golden Bear and at the Beckwith when they redo that leading into the development.
I got you there.
All right, good.
I think I do.
There we go. Let's test it. Yeah, so when we looked at this site, their frontage is actually really minimal, or I should say negligible, on Golden Bear Gateway. The gas station proposal to the north is the one that actually had the frontage on Golden Bear Gateway, and so they were required as part of their property. So there's actually a little sliver of land that remained between the old Golden Bear or the old Beckwith Road and Golden Bear Gateway.
Mhm.
That's actually owned by the gas station. So they don't technically own frontage on Golden Bear Gateway to be required to do the path. However, having said that, the gas station proposal that's immediately to the north was, and that is part of their approved site development plan. So
How far down?
They do it to the ramp. They're doing it to the
All the way to the
mhm,
ramp.
right.
Okay.
So it is captured, just not on this project. It's a separate project.
All right. What about when Beckwith gets reconstructed, the sidewalk back into the development?
So we did have them do that as part of their plan. I think they have basically what they're showing is a frontage road, and so one half that's along Golden Bear or along the interstate, not necessary. We were okay with that. I believe that was a variance request even. Or I think they may have gone with a private roadway section, like an access roadway. So it'd be a non-city maintained. But they did have it on the development side. But we did have in the area where they do have development on both sides, requiring that sidewalk on both sides.
Uh-huh.
So they do have it there. But where there is no development on the south side, they were okay to terminate that.
Okay. All right. That's all I have.
All right, any questions or comments? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 9A5 carries. Last item under our unfinished business, 9B1, a resolution adopting a plan of services for the property known as 8854 Saundersville Road, map 32H, parcel 12 and 14 in Wilson County, Tennessee, located within the city's urban growth boundary. Have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That carries. All right, now we'll move into the new business portion of our agenda. 11A1, an ordinance to rezone a portion of the property known as the Chris Campbell property, located at the southern corner of Hillview Drive and North Mount Juliet Road, map 72A, parcel A, group 30, from single family or residential RS40 to commercial town center CTC.
Motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries on first reading. 11A2, an ordinance amending Part C of the Unified Land Development Code of the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, known as the Stormwater Ordinance, by amending Section 12 stormwater fees.
Motion.
Motion
Second.
and a second. Any questions or comments on this? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Our next item is 11A3. This is our budget. I'm sorry, this is not. This is our proceeds. I'm jumping way ahead. 11A3, an ordinance to amend fiscal year 2021-2022 budget ordinance 2021-19 to accept insurance proceeds and appropriate funds for the repair of damaged city properties.
Motion. Second.
And a second, any questions or comments? City manager,
You are correct, though. It is budget related.
it's budget related.
Right. It's budget a lot in there. It will offset, it'll help offset some of the expenses. So thank you.
It will indeed. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Carries. And I'll pick back up on my other thought here, which was 11A4, which is the actual budget for the upcoming year. We had a kind of a lengthy discussion on the one of the rezones there. I'll give everyone, if there's anybody who would like to maybe take a 5-minute recess before we dive into the budget.
I'll second that.
All right. Third and that. All right. Well, if no objections, we will go to recess for 5 minutes.
Get it, Sheila.
All right, let's, all right, we got 4 of the 5 elected officials back at the table. So we'll reconvene if there's no objections. Perhaps we'll find our 5th. All right, the next item is 11A4, an ordinance of the city of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget, property tax rate, and sewer rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023. Motion and a second. We officially have the budget on the table. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor? Oh, got it.
It's a quick one.
Yeah.
Trust me. No, it really helped me a lot this year as opposed to last year. We had a pretty extensive workshop on this. So all my questions, what I wanted to see addressed, were addressed. So I'm not going to say anything other than the comment I just made. So again, thank you, Dana, and the rest of the department heads and Kenny for bringing this forward.
And I'll add too, I did like that format, just setting down and getting through it. Questions or comments?
I do have a comment.
Vice Mayor.
There was $50,000 that was put into this budget for the city manager to get a truck. Checking on the prices of those trucks just randomly, because I went to a couple of different places out here because I'm so tired of seeing him drive a Sanford & Son vehicle.
Can you buy tires for $50,000?
It's $60,000, by the way. It is not $50,000. So we need to make whatever adjustments necessary. And there would be as well a policy that the city manager would drive this vehicle and not revert back to the Fred Flintstone car that he's been in for all these years. So,
Well, he is known to go grab a dead animal off the road at 2 a.m. in the morning.
the reason I said the pickup truck as opposed to an SUV, because I can see him throwing it up in the SUV if we put it in policy.
Well, he would put a tarp in the back.
Bless his heart. Yes. So
Do you have a page or line item for that?
I don't know where it's at. Dana, fix
Dana
it, please.
is. So we have a motion by the Vice Mayor to amend it's a capital item from 50K to 60K.
Correct.
And our finance director is going to secure us a line item for it.
And you have a second.
Be page what?
I'm sorry, I don't have your mic on, so nobody's hearing you.
It's page 22. It would be the 944 transportation equipment line item.
944 transportation. So that was a motion to amend 944 transportation equipment from 50K to 60K.
Correct.
And you second, Commissioner Trevette?
Yep.
Good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, any other questions or comments on that amendment? All right, all in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? That carries. All right, anything else with the budget before we vote on first reading?
I will. I do need to ask a question. I apologize because I was not able to be at that meeting, but I wanted to make sure with what is the COLA?
6%.
6%?
Yes.
And how is that broken down for the employees?
It's
Raises?
it's just whatever their pay rate is. But we apply it to the entire pay scale. So wherever they fall in the pay scale, the entire pay scale increases 6%.
Okay. Is there any merit base involved?
There's a 2% merit. as well.
2% on top of the 6.
Yes.
So it's a total of 8.
Not technically. The merit works differently. It's really a total of 6% over what they made last year. But if you take away the merit, then it affects what the difference in their pay between year to year. But if you keep the 2% merit, it's not really 8%. They're getting a 6%.
So the total
COLA.
is 6%.
Yes.
And so you're saying the COLA is 6% when we've got an inflation rate of upwards of 8%,
That's what the Social Security Administration gave out this year. If
which
you
is a
want to-
government agency that we just trust explicitly, don't we? Yeah.
So that's why I put the 6% in, based on what we gave them last year, and then what the Social Security Administration gave out, 6%. That's what the 6% was. If you want to increase it, I can tell you what that would be.
What I would like to do, if we could, and between now and second reading, What I would prefer to do is that it would be 6%. If actually the COLA is 6%, then we have a 6% cost of living raise and then a 2% merit raise. So that the total would be 8% instead of 6%.
Potentially 8.
Potentially, depending on, obviously they have to earn that. It's not just given to them.
Well,
That's,
okay, so the way that works is we gave them a 2% this year, merit based. So their salary moves, but the merit is based on their total salary. So if you give them a 6% COLA, if you change that merit, then the difference between their salary will change. If you keep the merit the same, then it's the COLA that is the difference in their salary.
The COLA is the reoccurring, correct?
Yes.
The merit is
stays
one
the same.
time.
Yes, the merit is one time.
and that's that's what I'm saying, actually.
if
We're
you
saying the
want
same
to-
thing.
But if you want to do an 8% COLA and actually increase the salaries by 8%, you need to do an 8% COLA.
So, but that would be 8% COLA with a potential of 2% merit.
With a 2% merit, yes. That
So
would
we're
give
now we're
them-
talking 10%.
Potentially,
It's
but not.
Right. But the 2% doesn't change your pay rate.
Think of the merit as a bonus,
It's a
basically.
one-time.
Bonus. But make sure I'm saying this right. The 6% COLA is if you make $1,000 and now you're making 6% above the $1,000.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
then you potentially got opportunity to get a 2% bonus, which is your merit.
Yes.
She said yes to that.
I see why people do not like government. Y'all just talked me completely in a circle is what you just did.
I think the confusion comes in as the merit does not, it's not cumulative.
Right.
It doesn't go back to the salary base.
Right.
Actually, at the end of the year, if you make 8%, it is 8%, regardless whether that's merit or whether that is COLA. The end result is 8%. Correct? But that is a yes or no. That is not.
Would they be 8% better off if they got all their merit than they are on their current pay scale?
No.
No?
Take your base salary for this year, okay? And then you give them a 6% COLA. Their base salary, now the merit is separate. So their base salary, they got a 2% COLA this year. So their base plus the 2%. Now, if you take their base and you give them a 6% COLA, you've increased their base by 6%, but the merit is still separate. So you've given them a 2% merit last year. If you don't give them a 2% merit this year, that base to base is less. They're going to make less than what they did last year because the merit is separate. They got a
Okay.
merit.
All right. Let me,
I think she's saying the
between
merit is
now
treading
and
water.
the second reading, okay?
Yeah.
What I want to do is I want them ultimately to be able to have an 8%
Increase in their salary.
increase. So at the end of the year, they would have 8% more money if they had a 100% or an awesome evaluation based on the merit.
Okay.
So
actually
I want
the
them to have the
number on-
potential to have 8%.
I have the number on that if you would like to know.
You have already got that.
Yes. Yes.
Well, bless your heart. Why didn't you just say that? You could have saved us completely. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If you want to change the COLA from 6 to 8%, that's going to be a total effect on the payroll of $353,189. So that's what you'd be increasing the payroll budget by that much.
353,000
Yes, and that would give everybody an 8% increase.
if they have, right?
If they have a 2% merit, yes.
If they have the
they-
percentages required to get the 100% of the merit,
Yes.
correct?
Yes,
All the grades are going to go up 8%.
Right. Yeah.
yes.
Now, I will tell you, I mean, since she's already got the numbers there, I would like to amend it to that if we could, so that we can go into that with a second reading.
Okay. So you got a motion. Or,
Second that.
well, all right. So it's on the table, motion second. And Mr. Hefner, I think, has something he wants to say.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to look at the original pay study that we worked on last year, because is the COLA part of that 2-year plan? Or
Yeah,
did the 2-year plan to get them within 95% of the multi-city average, was that last year? Because my understanding,
They were
it
at,
was a 2-year plan.
yeah, the goal was to boost them this year, which was the 5%. And then so when wages went kind of crazy, everybody kind of is adjusting. So it's still within that range. I went 6 to match the COLA, but if you want to go 8, it does get them closer, but they're still within that plus or minus 5% range of average.
Yes, yeah, COLA is a cost of living increase, so it's not like they're getting anything additional. I mean, they're getting additional funds,
Right.
correct, but the cost of living is higher too,
Right.
right? Which is the whole purpose of the adjustments, but you want it to be a net neutral.
Right.
So what I'd like to see before the next reading is what does, compared to the original pay study that I looked at last year, factor in what's being proposed, and I want to see where those positions
Or the difference.
rank.
Okay.
Just so I can go back and take a look. Okay, did what we worked on last year and what my plan was to get within the 95%
Right.
average, which are employees, by the way, are not average, they're above average. They should be paid more than average, but let's start with where we sit based on last year's cost of living, because I want to make sure that we're not missing what my original plan was last year.
Okay, so do you want the rates with the 8%?
Show it with the 8%. I mean, show it with and without, but I certainly want to see 8%.
Okay.
So just show it with 8%. I've got a feeling that's going to.
That's what I'm proposing is 8%. At this point, I want to make sure that they are not going to absorb into their lifestyle the cost of living that has gone up. And like I said, the COLA may be at 6%, but we know inflation is upwards of 8%. So, let's adjust that. They have to make a living. They have to eat.
Right.
So, and then that gives them an opportunity to excel at their work and get the 2% merit on top of the 6. So they wind up with an 8 total.
Yes.
And that's what we have the numbers for currently, correct?
Yes.
Which is 353,000.
Yes.
That shouldn't probably, they should fall right in line with what you're talking about, what you came up with last year with the pay plan, correct?
Correct. Which
Okay.
was a 2-year plan to get
Right.
to,
And this being the second year.
within the 5%.
So that's my proposal.
Commissioner Trett.
So Dan, first of all, thank you for doing all this and having the numbers up to date. So if you don't mind, what was the 6% number?
The 6% was 826,000.
How much?
826,000 to do a 6% COLA. That's what it was going to cost.
And then in increasing, it would be an
increasing.
additional 353 on
Yes.
top of that. That's what I was wanting to make sure we had it on
Yes.
record for the rest,
Yes.
for everybody that's on. Thank you. Perfect.
You have the line item that would need to be increased by 353.
That's
It's because
gonna
it's
be-
going to be spread across.
Right. Yeah.
This is my first budget. Commissioner Mullally.
I just wanted stated for the public, this is not a pay increase for the Board of Commissioners, just in case the public is wondering.
Zero.
That would be accurate. We're still making $1.70
Yes.
an hour, so. Yeah.
We're above average.
Yeah.
Well,
By the
Save
way, I would like
100,000.
to exempt, if I could, the engineers out of that.
I was just working on that one. I'm about to, I second that motion.
Okay. Hey, Bob, Matt, that's what your boss just did.
I will say one entity I know was giving a 3% COLA raise and a 3% merit this year. So it's in this county. So it's very good of the board here, I think, to stay proactive on this. So Commissioner Hefner.
Sorry, do have another one. So we've got a little bit more work to do. So last year I was addressing more retention. This year I sat down with Dana and Kenny and wanted to focus more on recruiting, specifically for individuals that have experience beyond 3+ years with a lot. And I looked at the police department. There's a lot of really high-skilled, very lengthy, experienced law enforcement officers that are deciding to leave other agencies. And today, from my understanding, whether you have 1 year of experience or you have 10 years worth of experience, you come in at a tier 3. So I sat down with Dana and tried to come on, and PD, thank you, Chief, Deputy Chief, Captain, to come up with a way of maybe adjusting that to a higher tier, bringing them in at a tier 3, or excuse me, a tier 5. So paying for that experience. Another agency has already incurred the cost to get them to that experience level. So we're still working on that. There's some policy changes that need to be made. Opted not to include it tonight, but we will be bringing that up at the second reading. So just more of a heads up there. So again, the focus is paying for experienced individuals to come in and not bringing them in at an entry level position. I understand Kenny Martin has the authority to do this now, but I want to make sure that we capture that in the policy change. All right, and then apply the appropriate budget amount. So that was it.
All right. Well, before we get too off on topic, I'm gonna call for the vote on the COLA increase from 6 to 8, which is $353,000 increase in the budget.
Yes.
Okay. So all in favor of increasing salaries, which will raise the COLA from 6 to 8 for an additional $353,000 in the budget, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. And we're back on the budget as amended 2 times now. All right, anything else? City manager.
Mayor and Vice Mayor Commissioners, I'd be remiss if I didn't do this to take an opportunity to thank each of you for what you show daily in supporting these wonderful city employees and wonderful human beings for their sacrifice, comments, and support that you give them means the world to them, means the world to me. And I just want to tell you thank you. Whether or not it passes second reading or not, thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. All in favor of the budget as twice amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries. The next item on the agenda is a resolution to rename Wilfong Parkway to Summit Boulevard. Motion second. All right, any questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Hefner.
So HCA on Summit, I'm not going to make any predictions, but I find it interesting that that road is being changed to Summit Hospital. So I'm sorry, Summit Drive.
Summit Boulevard.
Summit Boulevard.
I believe.
Anyway, they purchased 25 acres back there, by the way. So we still don't know what's going back there, but if I had to guess,
It's probably purely coincidental.
it could be.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Yes, only get one shot on resolution. 11B2, a resolution declaring City of Mount Juliet Police Department property as surplus to be donated to the Wilson County Sheriff's Office. Motion? Second. Any questions or comments?
Watertown as well?
Not to my knowledge. As for Mr. Martin, has there been any conversations with Watertown, or is this just strictly with the Sheriff's Department?
Mayor, that's a great question. Deputy Chief, can you come up for just a second? I think these are just the Sheriff's Department. I want to see if the offer was made.
Sorry, sir, what was your question?
Okay, but first of all, how many vests are we talking about?
41.
41 vests?
Yes, sir.
And why are we getting rid of them?
So years ago, and you can look at the officer behind you, we've upgraded to the outer carrier vest.
Correct.
So what we have now that we don't use are additional outer carrier vests. So you can't put them over an existing outer carrier. What we have now in those vests that take them up to the rifle rated is there's an additional plate on top of their soft armor, what they have now. And so they're kind of non-existent for us.
So has there been any conversation with Watertown to give any of these to them?
I think they did reach out, but the biggest bite was the SROs from the sheriff's office, simply because of what we've seen lately nationally. They would probably have just a greater need for the rifle rated vest in our schools than Watertown.
So how many SROs are there?
I don't know. We just have 41 vests to give, and we're not using them.
Okay. All right.
And that was our first thought, was we reached out to the sheriff's office, And just wanted to try to equip their SROs with something that could stop rifle rounds, which they don't have now. And these vests that we have, we received, I think, a $10,000 grant about 6 years ago, maybe. That's how we purchased them, with a $5,000 supplement from the general fund. And they're just non-existent because we have the better vests now.
Is there an expiration date?
They're still plates, so no. There's no.
So just
expiration.
on the place, but there's expiration on the Kevlar.
There's no Kevlar. It's all.
It's all steel?
They're heavy steel plates. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Oh, I know. Okay, never mind. Yes, by all means, give it to the sheriff's department.
But,
Yeah, I just realized what you're doing.
yeah, that was our thought. That they bid on it, and I would rather them be somewhere in potential use than just sitting in our closet.
Right.
Feel like a nice weighted blanket.
But they were the active shooter kits that we received years ago when y'all were proactive and bought them. Technology changed. We're in these new vests, and our officers always now wear rifle rated plates when they're out on patrol. We're just a little more advanced.
I'm just going to stop now. Go ahead. You're good.
All right. Thank y'all.
All right, all in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Resolution 11B3, a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and the Tennessee Department of Transportation, TDOT, for the Pleasant Grove Road widening project, the South Mount Juliet Road widening project, and the East Division Street widening project, and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Question, Commissioner Mullally?
Question.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Okay, question for Andy. Two of these projects have multi-paths on both sides of the road. The South Mount Juliet Road doesn't mention one, but I know that in the comprehensive transportation plan, they were in that. So this is just an amendment to the original plan, right?
Yes. So for South Mount Juliet Road, we fought that a little bit. I'll say, put that lightly, I think, with TDOT on trying to get a multi-use path. But as it is, it's going to have separated bike lanes and sidewalks for South Mount Juliet Road. But the other two, yes, we do plan on the multi-use paths.
Okay. Could you estimate a timeline on these three projects, and will this expedite any of them?
Well, these are necessary steps for all three. Obviously, South Mount Juliet Road is first in the hopper. We're years into development on that one, but I think we're about to start on the right of way. Actually, this amendment is really going to help us to start on the right of way. Well, TDOT's actually going to do it, but we've got to sign the amendment. And so I think plans, if I recall, Matt, I think are pretty well, right of way plans, I think are ready to go. You can probably speak a little bit more to that.
Yeah, with South Mountain Juliet Road, the right-of-way plans are basically complete, and they're TDOT's ready to start right-of-way acquisition and utility relocation on that project. So this amendment to South Mountain Juliet Road contract adds right-of-way funding to our contract. It's roughly $17 million for right-of-way acquisition and utility relocations.
Okay.
So,
And I've probably only gotten 15 reminder emails to sign this contract,
oh, really?
but I can't till we approve it.
And so Pleasant Grove Road and East Division Street, these are new projects we're starting. And this gives us the opportunity to apply for grant funding in the future for construction.
Mm-hmm.
It's our plan to fund it up until construction with
Okay.
city funds or Amazon contributions. So this contract, it gives us the opportunity to apply for grant funding in the future.
That's correct.
All right, Vice Mayor?
I see the sister project getting funded to the project over on Lebanon Road. I don't care who answers this, but I want to know where we're at with the Lebanon Road project and why it is that TDOT decided to take that off of the budget schedule.
I can't necessarily speak, I don't think, to why it didn't make it in the upcoming budget. I think that's really a question for TDOT and the legislative body.
And I will say that to your credit, and not to go after you, one of you guys on this, y'all done what you could to get this through. And I do completely hold TDOT and the powers that be at TDOT all the way up to the governor's office responsible for not being responsible to the people that in my district and the people that drive Lebanon Road. And we've got a mile project. I think you corrected me on that when I said half mile. A mile project that is going to cost $23 million because of the standards that they're imposing, because they decided to go after federal money instead of leaving it as a state project that we were participating in. So now we've got a road that won't be widened. I think we've been going at this since 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So we're 5 years down the road. We're no closer to this $23 million project being completed. I haven't seen any documentation that's been accepted by the city commission. Have you?
So I guess as a update on that, the environmental document, I think is pretty close to being finished. And so we're getting in from there. We'll be doing the plans development for right of way. But then the next step is we need TDOT to fund the right of way phase. And so that's the next step.
And that's how long of a process between now and then?
My hope is that we can get all this done in this upcoming budget year, and that we can be petitioning TDOT to get the right-of-way funding funded in the next budget year at the state level.
So, and then the budget purchasing process is how long?
2-3 years, probably.
2 or 3 years for
Right.
them to get that, and then the utility relocation.
Yes.
Is that an additional 2 or 3 years?
No, I put the utilities in with it.
Okay,
Mhm.
so we're 3 years before we're to the point where we can actually do construction. We have orange barrels, correct?
That's about right. I'll
Okay,
take-
so,
add
and
it
3
this
years
year.
from now, let's see, it's 2025, so started in 17, 8 years of bureaucracy before they can actually put a shovel in the ground, correct?
I think that's probably even optimistic.
But even optimistic.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we may have an interchange.
Yeah, we would have a complete interchange built before they could get 1 mile of road widened, correct?
Potentially.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
I just encourage you to reach out to the state legislature. They make the decisions on the budgets, and that's all I can suggest.
Well, we're very
But
fortunate. We've got a state legislature that routinely and consistently fights for her people out here with being Representative Susan Lynn. I believe that she's been taken advantage of to a large degree in this scenario as well.
Yeah. And, I think the other aspect of it is we're pushing on. I'm grateful to this commission for funding the engineering for this. We wouldn't be as far as we are without it. We see the struggles with the funding of what we've got. And it is our intent to keep on pushing and getting this ready to where we are waiting on the state fully. Right now, we're trying to get everything else done, get the environmental document, get the design documents done, and we're going to keep pushing on that. And so it's our intent to say, here, we've got a project ready for you to start buying right away on. It's ready. Let's get it in the budget. Let's go.
Thank you.
All right. All in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Carries. The next item is a resolution approving an agreement between the city of Mount Juliet, Tennessee and Kimberly Horn for the design of the Town Center Trail Phase 3 project and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement.
Motion.
I'll second. Questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. 11B5, call for elections on November 8th, 2022 for Districts 2 and 4 for 4-year terms.
Motion.
Have a motion. And second.
Well, there's a shock. Isn't that a compliment?
I think. Well, if we go down the road of you have to abstain, we'll reach a point to where we can't get a majority. But all in favor of the call for elections? Or could you excuse me?
I have a quick question. Did we vote on this prior to these seats that were up prior to 2020? We did? I don't remember. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I
didn't
always
remember.
wonder what happens if we vote it down, but
Well, I didn't know if it had to do with the redistricting, because I just couldn't remember. Okay, okay.
this feels a lot like a formality, but in either way, all in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That carries.
Well, thank you.
11B6, a resolution approving a supplement to the agreement between the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee and WSP USA Incorporated for the improvement project on Old Lebanon Dirt Road and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement. Have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That carries. And that completes the agenda for is our voting portion of it. We have one final item, which is 11C1, a discussion item, which is future land for parks. This is under the sponsorship of Commissioner Mullally, so I'll turn the floor to her.
Okay. I wanted this to be up for discussion again, because we have had this discussion in the past several times about different ideas. And so I would just like to continue the ball rolling to get a consensus on a vision that the city has, and see if we can, come together on a vision to kind of nail it down so that we can move forward. So one thought was there is property still available in the city for sale. Well, some of it I know is for sale. And my thinking was, if we didn't do something soon, the city's not going to have any land to purchase or to move forward on park projects, such as perhaps a public pool and other things that we've previously discussed. So this was my idea of having it brought up for discussion again, to kind of come to a consensus on a vision.
Well, I'll start, Commissioner. I mean, it is true. A lot of the land is getting developed or used for other things out there. I know at the last Parks Board meeting, I think Parks Director did make the comment that he was focused on developing what he has right now, but that for his long-term vision, we need to be mindful of what's out there. I know there are some ongoing discussions with some large tracts of land from developers for potential donations as well. So that is floating out there. But of course, like all things, that isn't done until it's done, approved, and accepted. But I mean, I guess if you're asking for my thoughts on it, I mean, I'm very supportive of securing land for long term. I don't want to reset the clock back to 2020, where we had everybody between Dixon and Cookville calling the city, trying to sell every acre of floodland that they had.
For 2.3 million, by the way.
Yes, for 2.3
Right, yeah.
million. But yes, I have an agreement with what you're I guess for your discussion item. See.
Okay.
And Commissioner Mullally and she and I discussed this recently, just to have more conversation about it. And she is looking out for, in this particular case, she's trying to figure out what we can do to make sure that we're set in a position 10, 15 years down the road. I can applaud that. I think we actually almost doubled the amount of park property we had 2 years ago, did we not?
I believe that's correct, with the addition of Tomlinson, I think, made up a large portion of it.
Okay.
I talked to Commissioner Mullally just last week, and she had gone through this, and she's looking at some of our visions, and you're correct. Ray, she's looking out 10 to 15 years out.
Yeah.
She's worried that the city land is going to be purchased away, And there was a couple of visions that we shared. One was the sports village that we've always, we put up several times, and we're still getting calls today about why don't Mount Juliet have a pool, and we would need to build something like a Jimmy Floyd in Lebanon. We would need 10 to 12 acres. And she asked me.
In actuality, what we have talked about, and you've heard some of these conversations, myself and Commissioner Hefner both have been in conversations with the Senior Citizen Center. What we're hoping is that once we get something that is permanent, where we build the new police department on Charlie Daniels Parkway, that we can take the old police department, turn that into a combination of senior center, give them access to that building, unfettered access to that building. Also take one side of that and come down into Charlie Daniels Park with a pool and a Jimmy Floyd style facility at that location.
Okay.
That's what we've been talking about. And so we're hoping just as soon as the police department gets to the point where we can reasonably see that light at the end of the tunnel, we would be bringing that to you and the Parks Board for consideration and see if we can't work something along those lines. So we can use existing property as opposed to having to buy additional property.
And that would be phenomenal. I mean, that's great. That's the first I've heard of that. I've heard about splitting it up stuff, but Commissioner Lay, but what I want to do right now is thank you guys for what y'all just did with the COLA. I know it doesn't seem like much to you, but what you did for the people, the employees of the city of Mount Juliet, you just put the morale through the roof. You just made this the best job in the whole world. And it's because of you guys.
Yeah, we've got the best employees in the whole world.
But I mean that at the bottom of my heart. We've lived through some people up here, and we've got one of the best board of commissioners. I'm just telling you the truth, guys. It's said everywhere, but y'all are the best out there. We've danced with the devil up here, and finally,
kind of goes with Charlie Daniels' song. I love it.
Yeah. But I'm just telling you, bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for the employees here. It means a lot, and I don't know if y'all know what you did tonight, but it really means a lot to the employees here. The morale, when this word gets out, these people are going to be dancing out here, willing to do what we need to do and continue to make this what it is. Again, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Rocky.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much.
Appreciate it.
I
love the way you put it too. That was awesome.
I don't want to follow Rocky.
No.
All right. Is there room to expand in Charlie Daniels Park with a Jimmy Floyd type center with parking?
I see where you're going now. I had this question today, and I was confused what you were talking about. But yeah, we could come all the way down to the amphitheater and bring it in and circle it up. Yeah, there was definitely enough room to do that. I see kind of the plan now.
If I may.
All right.
Mayor, there's a plan also that involves the parking from the actual police department as it exists now and the additional parking that will be tied into that. So it's almost, you're probably 1.5 times the parking right now. And hopefully when we got patrol cars that are out on the road, they're not at the police department. So we don't have to worry about them being parked in those spots. So, but that's a plan that we'll come up with and we'll be able to deliver and put in place down the road. Right now, we need to get a police department built. So that's just worry about one thing at a time, kind of the way I'm looking at it. So,
yeah, I'm not opposed to looking at purchasing additional parkland. I would ask that we try to determine what it is that we want to use, what we need before we go out and start buying land, as opposed to buying land and then trying to retrofit something in there that doesn't make sense. I know spending an awful lot of money to level that hill over there to make some soccer fields out. And I know that didn't come at a cheap, wasn't cheap at all. So
No, it wasn't.
we bought a hill and turned it into soccer fields. So I think we spent more money on the grading of that land than we probably did acquiring it. I could be incorrect on that, but I'm not opposed to it. But we just need to make sure that we have a plan of what are the citizens needing? What are they wanting? Both senior citizens, youth, everybody, and then come up with, okay, here's what we need. Now let's go find the land to build it on or put it on or whatever we're going to do.
Well, we did complete that study. What was the company? Or I can't think of who it was right off. Who did the parks future vision of
Company
park?
The company name, Rocky?
Who, what are you talking about? I'm sorry. I didn't hear the question.
Kimberly Horn. Is that
Yep.
who it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have that.
Oh, our master plan?
Yes, the master
that was Kimberly
plan.
Horn. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do have that. I did.
And I'll I'll just add, I'm not opposed to a little open green space either. I don't, Commissioner Hefner was talking about trying to just, you acquire the land and trying to backfit something in there. A little open green space is nothing wrong with that either.
No.
But whatever we do in the future, I mean, it's just I would encourage us to be very intentional about what we're doing, where we're going with it, and keep those in mind. And I'd say Commissioner Trevette here, who is representative for the Parks Board.
Yeah,
I guess you got a few things to carry back to the Parks Board.
absolutely. And Mayor, if I can chime in on a couple things real quick. Rocky, obviously, we've sat through a lot of meetings, and the biggest thing that I want to see realistically is just for us to get the parks up and running currently right now, make sure that we stay in budget, as well as, we see what kind of traction we get with what all the development has out there. I'm in line with Commissioner Mullally. I think it's a great idea to look into the future. Land is obviously going up every day. So we got to be able to, again, use our money wisely. But right now, I think there's so many projects that the Parks Board is working hard to get done and get complete. Excuse me. I think right now we just need to make sure that we stay within budget and that we get the traction that we are looking for with the residents. So I think the discussion should still stay open for us to be able to project that, as well as get something on paper coming from from some opportunities over there for a potential pull system over there, if that's a possibility, from Commissioner Hefner and Vice Mayor. But for us, we do got a lot of discussion to bring back to the board on our next meeting. So just looking forward to that, as well as the support from the community. So everybody that's still sticking around at 8:30 at night, again, you're the one that's, using these parks. So be a voice, reach out to your district, discuss, any ideas. You're the end user. So we want to make sure that we support our community. So that's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Commissioner Mullally.
In a conversation last week with Kenny, the current police headquarters came up. And so the issue of the city expansion, because they're full, City Hall is full, came up. And so one of Kenny's thoughts was half the building at the current headquarters might be for, city staff for expansion. So that's a thought too. So I just want to mention that.
We can't afford that now because we just gave them all raises.
That's true.
I love it when Mr. Marquetti just looks at me and shakes his head.
Any thoughts or future visions on Clemens Road? We have what, 7 acres outside the 3 acres, 10 total, but 3 for the senior citizens center. Any thoughts or ideas on that property
I think that's
for future?
That's still technically theirs for now.
Yeah. So we're just,
We got
No
60
idea.
acres off of York Road.
yeah, we do have that over there.
Who in the world wants to drive all the way down York Road?
I'm just saying.
You're just saying, quit saying. You're messing my district now. So leave it alone.
It's in your district.
That's right. Leave it alone.
You're talking about on Beckwith? North
It's your
Beckwith?
hunt spot.
York Road, you don't know where it's at. You don't need to worry about it. It's all okay.
It's his hunting. It's his hunting. spot.
Oh, for the, where the shooting range is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Okay.
the training center is slated for.
Any thoughts on, because this was brought up before in the previous board, any thoughts on the Baltz property that we had previously discussed a couple of years back?
In regard to,
Parkland Preserve?
for the most part, the property over there is great for Jurassic Park. I mean, it's a lot of rock. We had looked at putting ball fields over there at one time, but it was the 125 acres they were offering was really rocky to the point where it wasn't usable for ball fields. Not
Okay.
because, I mean, you're looking at, if you start building what, for instance, they've got at the Little League Park up here,
Mhm.
you're looking at somewhere anywhere from $7 to $10 million to build something of that nature. where it already exists. Football, that's one of the reasons we went to what we've got now at Mundy Park with the footballs, because they actually owned part of Charlie Daniels Park. So to put them up there satisfied a need that we had. Now we've taken care of the soccer. I'm not sure what additional parkland we've got with the Tomlinson property and some of the others that we've got around town. And I don't know, I'm not sure what we would be able to pull from in the old Boss Farm. Like I said, for most of
Okay.
that's rock.
Rocky had just mentioned, 100 acres for a sports complex?
Yeah, last time we looked at it, around 2010, it was around 100 acres they had out there for sale. And I think what she's talking about doing is just banking, buying some land, not necessarily to be park land, it's just to buy it and just sit on it, right?
Yeah.
It's not banking
For
land is
future-
what you're doing.
For future endeavors, right?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of what
Just
she's thinking
preserve
about.
it.
So, I mean, and the Boss property and the McFarland were both on the market back then. So I don't know. We were talking about a sports complex, kind of like Murfreesboro. We're going to need about 100 acres to bring all the youth there. Then there's some visions of taking the Little League, put them on 33 acres of that, taking theirs, turn it into a central park, if you will. Taking all the
Just-
fields. It's just a vision.
Right. You do know
Some long-term visions.
what is Murfreesboro's property tax?
I know, and that's what it's going to take to get this.
Yeah, well,
Somebody
that ain't
said,
gonna
"How you gonna fund it?" I'm going to say a property tax.
Yeah, no. No. They have a property tax that is well over,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
it's up there.
I mean, ours is 11 cents. Theirs is over $1, correct?
It's last time I looked.
Yeah. Ours is 11 cents. So
Yeah.
we rely on sales tax
Yeah.
and the wonderful hearts of developers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the discussion, and I look forward to continue discussions in the future till we can kind of nail down a vision.
All right. With that, concludes the business for our meeting tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No one.
Any
We're adjourned.
abstentions?
Any abstentions?